It's really great to see you all on this beautiful Saturday morning. And this will be my last Saturday with you as president.
Oh,
I thought it was next week. No,
Yeah.
30th?
Next week, we're having installation next weekend.
On the 30th. Okay, so yes, officially, yes.
Right. So I just really wanted this meeting to not only discuss Rotary business, but just to kind of fellowship and find out what's happening. I mean, I know John is still recovering from the effects of the hurricane. I was hoping that Amaryllis would have been on to give us an update on what's happening in Toronto. I was hoping Dana would be on as well, but we'll see what happens. So it's really just a free meeting this morning. And I will start by giving you a quick update on the Women's Center project. I spoke with the developers this week, and they are willing to give us a free demo next week. I reminded them that we are all online. And so they have to give me a solution so that those of us who can do the demo meeting with them this week will be available. So as he provides the information to me, I will send you guys an email. It would be really great if 2 or 3 of you can make it to the demo and just see what it is that they're developing. In terms of the management of the project going forward, I will continue to, well, I'll pay my dues, right, as a Rotary member of the eClub so that I can continue to manage the project. However, I cannot promise you that you'll be seeing me most Saturdays, but I will be a part of the eClub. I thought about it, and since I'm so close to the project, I will just pay my dues, continue as a member, and manage the project until it's finished.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
that is nice. Yeah.
And if I may say something, Leslie, it's while the eClub is there to benefit persons, you know, who are actually in the working world, it's still very difficult.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if there's any day that would be the perfect day to be committed to the eClub. For me, it is extremely difficult. On Sunday mornings, which is typically the day I'm off, I don't even have time or have the energy to get up to go to church. So I won't even say that Sundays would be a better day. In the week, it's really difficult. On Saturdays, as it is now, I'm at work. So someone may come in and I have to turn my screen off, or I have to get up and deal with an issue. So it's difficult. But I'm glad, Leslie, that you are still committed to the cause, because that's important. You may not physically be here, but again, once we can get the meetings online, I'm sure that will, keep you engaged. You can see what's happening and move forward. But I'm glad you have reconsidered and you are still, because even for me, this year has been extremely difficult.
I know.
Very, very difficult year. I've been up from 4 o'clock this morning. I had to do an airport drop-off for 6:30, and then I'm now at work, another hour and a half drive. So it's really difficult. But I try as much as possible to be here. A lot of times I'm here and I have to quickly turn my screen off or mute myself to deal with a guest issue. But if I don't do that, I feel I'm not here, I'm not involved. I do read the meetings when I can, but it's still not the same. Seeing everybody, seeing the faces certainly helps. And I'm sure in time you will probably find that you'll pop into even half an hour, because sometimes I'm driving and you'll see me driving, but obviously I can't watch the screen, but I'm listening. I may miss a couple of things, but certainly that's my way of feeling engaged with the club, and certainly my commitment to Rotary continues just by that. So I'm glad. I know it was a difficult year as president, but I'm sure your recommitment says that you are committed to the cause.
Yes, I am.
Bravo, Camille, bravo. You said it so nicely for all of us.
Really
It's difficult. And I know Leslie, her daughter just started high school, the activities, the extracurricular activities. It's difficult. I mean, my son just finished high school, and unfortunately, I couldn't give as much as I could because of work. And then, Rotary had nothing to do with it. It's just my work commitment. It's very difficult, certainly when you work in this environment. It's not a 9 to 5, Monday to Friday job.
Yeah. And
It's
also,
hard.
you know, for my work, being in banking or any financial industry, it is a very volatile place to be, right? In terms of restructuring, in terms of responsibilities, etc. And so, you know, there are times that I'll hear the day before that I have to go on a plane and go to some island, right, to deal with a crisis that's happening at a branch or in the country or, you know, whatever. So it was increasingly difficult along with other personal challenges. And I've also gone into a new business venture that's going to require my time, which is to put on triathlons in Jamaica because we don't have enough events to develop the sport amongst our youth. So I recently formed a company and we are putting on our first inaugural event in August. And so that's going to take, and we intend to continue to do so, to develop the sport in Jamaica, right? So, you know, in addition to my work responsibilities, my other personal stuff, I have ventured into a whole new world of the tri world, right? The tri universe. And I also represent Jamaica on different platforms, not just competing, but I also sit on the Tri Association, you know, and I'm pushing to get more women involved. So it's a lot of things that I'm just now going into that's going to take away more of my time. And I need to rest. So to wake up on a Saturday morning, mark you, I get up early anyway because that's just my clock, because I train at 5 o'clock every single morning at the pool. So I'm up, but I still need to be in a resting state and not have my brain so engaged, because I'm engaged literally from Monday to Sunday, every single day. So I have to find that rest time as well.
Leslie, what's the rest of your T-shirt?
Yes, I was wondering the same thing.
Please, I get to think if
stand up, stand up, stand up, stand up.
Pause my, is that the timing?
Yes.
Strava. Strava,
Yes.
What is Strava?
Strava is an athlete's app where it's like, it's a social media for athletes. And so we download information from our sports watch. I don't have on my sports watch right now, onto the app. And then we follow each other. So we can like a distance that somebody did, you know, we can encourage, give kudos, etc. But especially when you're working with a team, we've done Strava to verify that you did exactly what you said you're going to do, right? Yes. And so my shirt says, if I collapse, please stop my Strava, because I'm still working, but if I fall off my bike, fly off my bike or drop or whatever, you know, I have to like stop so that I can continue with the time on the app.
It's like
when you come back,
give me a time, give me a timeout.
Yes, it's like a timeout, right? But I mean, persons who use Strava will get it's a joke shirt, of course, because we're so obsessed with the app and we follow each other and, you know, we talk about stuff that we do during the day. And then if we say we ran 13 miles, then we have to look on Strava to make sure that you really did the 13 miles, right? So that's the point of the shirt.
So watch over me in a way, you know. Can someone be my big brother and watch over me if I collapse?
All right. Exactly.
So overall, Leslie, how was your year?
It was rough. I'm not going to lie to you. I had no secretary. I really didn't have a board, really. It was rough. I mean, just to be very frank with you, it was a really difficult year in Rotary for me. Probably the most difficult year I've ever had as a Rotarian. And just trying to keep the boat afloat, considering the many challenges that all of us as members had. It was a rough time.
But, I mean, what I can say, I mean, I say it publicly and I've said it before, John was my support. Because I mean, at the time, I had John who really took on the updating the,
website.
The website.
And
and the meetings. And I mean, I could not have done it without John.
Yeah.
And you know,
I fell out on that. But Leslie, as I said to you earlier, that while it's an incredibly rough year, you have enabled the club to accomplish really great things. I think the women's training thing is fantastic, and it would not have come about without your direct effort and work, and to the extent that we were able to help, that's great. But you do not consider your year a failure by any means. Your year has you're leaving a mark here. I'm glad you're not leaving.
I'm glad too.
Yes.
While I am probably the only one here in Jamaica with Leslie, I have not seen Leslie in the entire year. And I promise you, Leslie, I will make it up to you. I'll make an extra effort to come to Kingston and at least, touch base, because it means a lot. It's you can't just fall out. And as I said, it was a difficult year personally and work related for me. But the Women's Center, it's something that we really have to embrace as a country and as a club. And I wonder if it's something we could do, Leslie, like a plaque, just so that Rotary eClub is embedded in something.
Yeah,
I mean,
That's a good idea. Yeah.
even after, it doesn't have to be a big plaque. It could be like 8 by 12, something presented to them. Certainly from the eClub, they're very inexpensive. And if it's something that I don't necessarily think it's something that we need to reach out to the club for. Less than that, we could put that together and put something there that as president, they would have remembered Leslie and the eClub. Certainly, because it's as I said, I have been involved with them because for various reasons. They have young mothers, and all the mothers are teenage mothers, some as young as 13. And at the time, my son used to go through different formulas, and I couldn't get into the right formula. And rather than wasting it, I would actually take it to them. I would explain to them that I opened one, but the others are not open, and they said they'll be willing to take it. Certainly, we have to encourage them. They are the future, and I don't think that mistake is something that we should use to set their future. We have to work with them, and where I can, Leslie, if there's anything, please feel free to. I'm not good at emails, etc., but I'm willing to assist. But certainly, if everybody agrees, we could get a nice little plaque. Leslie, tell me the cost. It's easier for you being in Kingston.
Yeah.
And we could hand it to them as president in your year, and it's there for something with the eClub, Rotary eClub7020, that is there somewhere sitting at the building at the main office. That I think that's where you're working from or working with. Then that remains with them. If you all agree, it's something we could look at, Leslie.
Yeah, I think that's a really great idea. Earlier out in the conversations with the Women's Center, we discussed the public media part of it, right? And they're all in, whatever it is that we want to do. I even spoke to them about, at the time, it was a sign, it wasn't a plaque, because I wasn't thinking plaque, but just something to, put there. So they're fully on board with any kind of publicity.
And Leslie, have you ever thought of reaching out to, and I know he's a Rotarian, Francois?
Yeah, man. Francois is my friend.
Right, because he does the morning program. It would be great if we could capitalize on 2 minutes of.
That's a good idea. That's very true. Just to talk about the project. That's.
And I think
I will reach out to him.
Not so much about but really just saying what we would have done with them, what we have accomplished, and what that even though the year has ended, certainly we will continue to assist, etc. But I think Francois would be probably quite,
Yeah, he I'm sure that he will too. Thanks for reminding me, because he's my friend, I keep forgetting that he's on the radio. So, and I keep forgetting what it is that he can do to help us in terms of our public image. So I will reach out to him for sure.
And certainly, let's look at the plaque. I don't know. I mean, I know there are places in Kingston.
Yeah, man, whole heap of places.
Right, we can do that and let's get us something out and present to them.
Yes, and what I don't know exactly how the software functions and so forth. On the other hand, it certainly it has a beginning and an end that when it boots up or when it starts up, there should be a Rotary eClub recognition just as a part of the what's going to appear on the screen to be
correct.
That is a brilliant idea. So I need to write these things down so that I don't forget when I'm having the discussions. As they're developing, this is the best time. In terms of our logo, though, I don't
Just
know.
a minute. Somebody has a radio playing, and I don't know what, if there is an interference of sound. Okay, thank you. I don't know. Okay. Thanks.
All right. So I'm going to I'll probably drop him an email today, the developers, and copy the Women's Center on it, asking what dimensions. I don't know anything about logos on websites. And to see if it can be placed there, John, for sure.
I think Amaryllis probably can give you, I don't know if the logo has changed, but she would have something with our logo or.
Right.
John, do you have anything?
I can maybe I can send you my my business card that I printed for the Rotary. It has the 4-way test on it, and of course the logo. So I have it digital also, so I can email it to you. Maybe you can use that.
Okay. Well, you can email it to me. I can ask them.
Yeah, you can see if then they have it at least they have the settings and everything.
Right.
And the four-way test.
And the 4-way, yes, because I was supposed to be in Toronto, but then I had to cancel, and I had to print my business card and everything. So I will send that to you, so you can use the back of the card where the 4-way test is and the logo.
Okay, sounds good.
Yes, I think once that's completed, Leslie, you let us know that, where we are and sure. Well, I was hoping Howard would have been here.
Me too.
I don't think it's going to impact the club, but I don't know how many of you would have known Howard is actually migrating.
Yeah.
Moving to Canada. And he moves next month to Canada. I'm hoping he will still remain a member because that's the good thing about the eClub. It doesn't matter your physical location.
And we've already
so he has actually resigned. He's been away from me for a week. It's not the same. But I guess,
we already have 2 Canadians, so one more. Just, hey, the more the merrier, eh?
Yes. Yeah, so he and his family moves at the end of July, or by the end of July.
At the end of July, yes, I'm aware. He and I have been talking about it.
Transplant, so he'll fit right in.
I didn't hear that, Dawn.
Dawn?
We're largely a club of transplants anyway, so no problem with that on my end. I'm transplanted from Haiti, so.
Yeah. Yeah, so.
All right.
Yeah, he's very excited about it, and I'm really happy for him. It's something that he has been looking forward to for a while. So we should have some sort of, not send off, but at least as part of Saturday, just to fellowship with him, because we don't know what his plans are where Rotary is concerned. Although he did indicate to me months ago that he intends to stay. But things.
Yes, that's my understanding too. And I know I've hooked him up well. I've suggested to him to go online to the Rotary Club that in the location he's moving to, and they have been so receptive. They're going to be at the airport to meet him and everything.
Awesome.
So I think that should help in his, transition and settling down with his family.
That's really, really good. And speaking of which, I attended a fantastic project handover this week with the Rotary Club of Kingston. Camille, I'm not sure if you have been seen in the news, right? That at Emancipation Park, there are busts of our national heroes that were placed there by the Rotary Club of Kingston.
No.
Yeah, look, Google, sorry, I'm sorry, my iPad just dropped. Google it.
Okay.
So what it is, everyone, Rotary Club of Kingston, a part of their project, what they did was to develop houses for the underprivileged. So that was one part of their project. And then the other part of their project, and they handed that over a couple months ago, the completed houses. The other part of the project had to do with...
Excuse me, I have to interrupt you because I hear a lot of radio things in my, and I've been making signs and writing, and is anybody having a radio on, or is it that I'm going not crazy?
Well,
You're not crazy, but I'm not hearing anything though.
no, everyone is muted except you and Leslie right now. Henriette.
So where was it coming from?
I'm not hearing anything like that at all. Well,
And it's not showing up on the screen here, so you may have some local interference.
Well, I just turned in on the radio here, but it was off. So okay, well, I guess I'm going crazy in a way. Sorry about that. You know, I think I'm Joan of Arc, you know, hearing voices.
No. All right, Leslie, you want to finish? You were telling us about the park in Kingston.
Right. So we have a park called Emancipation Park, and we're all Caribbean, so we know about the emancipation of slavery, right? And what Rotary Club of Kingston did was to kind of commemorate the meaning of the Emancipation Park, which is your walk to freedom as slaves, by placing the busts of our national heroes on a pathway that's called the Walk to Freedom. And can I tell you, I just got goosebumps watching the handover and, you know, them they unveiling the busts and taking it. It was just amazing. All sorts of government officials were there. And I just felt such a sense of pride that Rotary could do such an important national, what you call it there, not just handover, but commemoration of what we have been through as a Caribbean people and what our ancestors have been through. And it is a really good reminder to us when we go to Emancipation Park and to our children when we take them there as to the struggles that our ancestors went through to bring us to where we are at today. And so I found it very interesting that that was a part of their project. I've never heard of a Rotary Club doing a national, you know, something national like that. But it was good.
Excellent. Excellent.
Yeah, that's great. John, do you know, in St. Thomas, I think, I don't know if it's Emancipation Garden or another part, there is a Rotary clock, they say? I forgot, maybe we'll ask PDG Diana from Rotary. There was a clock in one of the monumental gardens. You know about it?
Emancipation Garden.
I think not Emancipation Garden. No, that is the blowing of the horn that was done by the government. But there was a Rotary clock.
We had a clock at the airport. They put a Rotary.
Oh, okay, the Rotary clock. Okay.
At the airport. Along with the listing of all of the Rotary clubs in St. Thomas, St. John.
Okay, yeah, I remember something, but Leslie, this is amazing, you know, to put a monument forever like that for everybody to see from Rotary is amazing.
It was just fantastic. I mean, my father dragged me there kicking and screaming because it is hot, right? So he was like messaging me from the Sunday night, you need to come to this, you have to come to this, because his club. And so last minute I decided, okay, I'll go, but I cannot manage the heat, so I'm not staying long. Well, can I tell you, I stayed for the entire event. It was that wonderful and well executed. And I felt such a sense of national pride watching the unveiling of these busts of our national heroes and knowing that it's from Rotary. And they spoke, the president, Michael Buckle, he spoke at length about our strategic objectives as Rotary International. you know, and the kind of attention, the media attention that he got was a really great moment for Rotary, period, across the board. And it has been in the news, it has been on social media, it has been in mass media, it has just been doing the rounds since Monday. That is how important that project is. And then it made me kind of think too, Rotarians, about us as an e-club. They got a lot of sponsorship. So it's so much easier as a terror club to get stuff like that. You know what I mean? So watching them and hearing each sponsor who donated towards each bus. So every single National Hero bus had its own sponsor, right? Some different company that paid the artists to do it. And I'm like, wow, if we as an e-club could get that, can you imagine the kind of difference we could be making in our islands if we were, you know, to have that kind of spread in terms of being together and getting sponsorships to put on different projects in our own islands. Which was kind of the vision that I had for us as a club, that we all just find projects in our own communities to do. But it's just a sponsorship and the funding.
Interestingly enough, when we seek sponsorship here in St. John for many of our charitable organizations, we go to your bank.
Ah, Scotia.
Yes. Yes. And they've been in the past. They've been generous and helpful. They certainly more than some of the banks. I think Banco Popular has not been very forthcoming to us, though they are active on St. Thomas. But on St. John, we've had First Bank and Scotia to count on.
That's great. And a number of our executives in Jamaica, I'm talking, are actually Rotarians too. So it kind of makes it easier. But the thing with sponsorship, with any company, any corporate company, you have to go to them from early. So for example, if Dawn wanted to do another project, right, in whichever community, she would have had to start those discussions from last year with a major sponsor. You know, that's just how it is now. Before, back in the day, you could just walk up to a corporate company and ask for funding and somebody would just write a check. That's just not how it is today. You have to approach them long before you even start the implementation of the project. And that's what's happening with the bank right now, at least in Jamaica.
Well, and I'm sure it's the same way in St. Thomas, even though the president of the Bank of Scotia is an active Rotarian.
Yes.
Akeen, I think is.
Yeah, Lawrence Aki, yeah. As I was saying last week, yeah, they do a lot for the St. Thomas Rotary Club where he belongs, yeah. And I think he's the one who's organizing the Toronto conference. He's the one who's sending. Yeah, Lawrence Aki, all the information that comes from him about Toronto, the conference.
Well,
that's him. Yeah, he was a VP of Scotia, and all the parties of Rotary were at Scotia House because they have a beautiful big house in St. Thomas, the bank.
Yes,
where the managers stay. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
It had all the presidents and secretaries of the clubs out once. I participated back when I was one of those. It's lovely, and yet he manages to enter all of the Rolex and Caribbean yacht racing events too. He's got a fast boat.
Oh, okay.
And they do a lot of events, you know. Him and his wife, they're so gracious, and they have the house, a beautiful big house, which is in St. Thomas, known as Scotia House, because every vice president that comes, you know, they change them every few years. They stay there, but Lawrence had been there for a while.
Yeah, I don't interact with him because the countries that I manage, his St. Thomas USVI, it doesn't fall under.
Right.
Because so I don't interact with him at all, so I don't know him.
Yeah.
But that is fantastic. I mean, Scotia is very involved with Rotary, which is admirable. almost every single VP that I've encountered, or even CEO, are Rotarians.
That's good. Rotary is good.
Yeah.
And it is worth the extra effort that it takes on our part to be here.
Yep.
Does anybody? You said something about sharing and fellowshipping this morning. What I would like to point out is that as of yesterday, our house is buttoned up. Our house is, all of the openings have been filled.
Awesome.
And there are some 4 large, to cover the openings even further, there are roll down shutters, and these are the heavy duty storefront shutters that will stand up to the winds, and they are in crates, 4 of them, 4 big crates in our carport, waiting for installation. They arrived yesterday. So my anxiety level went from there to about here. I could probably, I could stop taking my my Zoloft, except that if I did, my wife would strangle me and then leave. She says it makes me a much nicer person. And Lord knows women have been trying to do that for years, and it took drugs. Aria, you want to say something? Go ahead. You're on.
Oh, I said, at least you found the right pill to be a nice person. I wish that everybody would find one, and especially me.
After the hurricane, the depression throughout the islands has been tremendous, and sort of a sense of hopelessness. And as the start of hurricane season, we had our house looked from the outside just like it did on September 10th, and it was scary to realize that we could have a storm at any time, and here we are still wide open. So anyway, so that's how it is here, and I'm feeling better. I hope that Brent is getting some better over there in St. Thomas.
Have you spoken to him?
No, I have not. I should, but
I haven't heard from him at all. Go ahead, Henriette.
No, I just wondered whether this is why John's cigars are getting longer and longer. I mean, you see, maybe it's the shadow, but when you see him moving his cigar, it seems that it has an extra length from before.
I think that's a trick of the camera. It's
it's a trick of the camera. Oh, really, really, really. Yeah, Okay, well, at least, are you going to spend the hurricane season in your house?
Oh, yes. As we both realized that had we not been here, the house would, in fact, have been destroyed. I mean, it would still have been, we might have had a roof, but we managed to stop the wind and the rain from getting into the great room, the 2 old bedrooms, and the kitchen. So but we did it by bracing ourselves against the storm shutters that were going to blow in for about 4 hours. And so had we not been here to do that, they would have blown out, and then everything would have been wet and ruined instead of only half the house. So yes, we'll be here for hurricane season. And I don't want to put a house sitter through it trying to figure out what to do.
But you will be you'll be protected at least, right?
Oh, yes, we right now we could probably withstand a Category 1, and when we get those new storm shutters up, I'm thinking we're ready for whatever you can prepare for. You cannot prepare for a 5.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's true.
But I mean, you can prepare for it, but don't expect to come out unscathed.
Mhm.
And then the heat, John, the heat has me so concerned because, you know, I am not any weather person, but once it is hot, I start to think about hurricanes and earthquakes when the heat is just over the top.
Well, someone told me, and I have not gone online to check right away, but someone told me yesterday that the Atlantic sea temperatures have dropped recently, and rather than rising, there's something, some currents have gone in that are so that it's cooler across the Atlantic, and that will mitigate.
That will help. That will
Okay, good.
Is that El Niña? El Niña, when El Niña is there, there's less of a chance of hurricane. Is that it, John?
No, El Nino, and that's in the Pacific, but that does affect the Atlantic, and they were expecting an earlier El Nino this year.
No, El Niño is bad, I think. El Niña, the female part is that cools it up, I think.
I don't think so. They remember all the hurricanes named after women.
But El Niña is the cooler one. I thought I don't know, I'm confusing it maybe.
Yeah, we'll check
it out. Yeah, we'll check it out. But I don't think there will be hurricane. Don't worry this year.
No, they used to put the blame on El Nino all the time, and then they found out that it was also a Niña, which was doing her number behind the Nino. So this is why.
But she's the one who cools off, I think. So I hope.
Yeah. Well, the thing is that, you know, maybe we'll have a better season for hurricanes, but it's not going to last in the long range. But we take advantage of it for the moment. We need a rest.
We do. And then guess what, John?
Yes.
I am a hurricane this year. So my name was given as a hurricane name. You know, when they
Leslie?
Hurricanes, yeah, there's a hurricane called Leslie.
Is that Leslie?
Yes.
Yeah, that's my wife's dad's name. But because she's an EY.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when I saw it, I was like, really?
and
also I googled it.
The L's are some of the worst for us. So
are you serious?
Louise, Maryland. The LCD, that's usually in mid to late September, and those are the ones that most damage here. All right, you've looked it up. What does it say?
Oh no, El Niña is the woman, the cooler. Yeah, it's there is El Niña and La Niña. La Niña is sometimes referenced as the cold phase of ENSO, and El Niña is at the warm phase. So the female cools it, and the male is the one warms up. So if you have El Niña like cooling it up now, there will be no hurricane. That counteracts, I think, the hurricane. That's what they say.
Sounds like the testosterone.
It certainly sounds that way.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad that the Earth doesn't have too many hormones, because otherwise it would have already collapsed with all what we're doing to it.
Yeah.
Anyway, Bonita, we're almost starting to see you. Bonita, are you there?
No.
No,
you're supposed to.
Yes, kind of.
Yes.
Well, no, not anymore.
Oh, okay, that's much better. And we caught a glimpse of dawn also. Okay, that's nice. I mean, having those drawings is distracting. Anyway.
The internet has been iffy for a lot of us.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Bonita, yes.
Oh, Yeah. No, my
Wait.
internet is, I don't know, my internet is so bad. So that's, I think without the camera, it's maybe a little better.
That's what Dawn is gone to audio only because of
Yeah.
it does take less bandwidth.
It takes, yes. Mm-hmm.
So
And
John,
she
now
just
I
said,
learned.
go ahead, Wayne.
Go ahead. No, Madam President. No, about El Niño, like in Spanish they say, which I thought so. El Niño is the little boy, and El Niña is the little girl, and she's kinder.
Well, always.
Oh no.
Well, John, the first time that they put men's names in the list, this is when we got Hugo. And you're not familiar with the poetry, the literature in France, but whoever thought of giving a hurricane the name of Hugo, thinking of Victor Hugo, who is a major explosive poet. I mean, he really did a good job.
Well, and Andrew did a bit too. So
Andrew was not as strong.
But more in Florida,
and besides, Andrew is
in Florida.
Is Andrew anybody particular? I mean, is it a president? Is it something?
Andrew Jackson. Andrew
but
Jackson.
This is the first name. It's not the last name.
The first name, yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's not a last name.
Andrew in Florida was devastating. It was one of the worst.
The name has been retired. It was that good.
Good. That's
okay.
There's lots of Andrews around, but yeah, when you say Andrew, no last name, people tend to think of the hurricane, not the president.
Yes.
Not the president. That's what I think. But Hugo, you can't think. I mean, if you're French, you can't think of anybody else but the poet.
But Victor Hugo.
Victor Hugo, and then when you see what the Hugo hurricane did, you can imagine what the poet did at his time. Mm-hmm. He's the one who wrote, if there is only one, and if there is only one remaining, I will be that one. Et s'il n'en reste qu'un, je serai celui-là.
You hear that Trinidad had an earthquake last night?
Really?
Again?
Really?
5 point something. 5.1, 5 point something. Yes, I heard it this morning on the news, but I don't know that there were any injuries or any damage to any structures or anything. But I heard it. I'm sure that's what they said coming in.
But
so
you didn't feel it at the time it hit?
Well, that's in Trinidad.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes. Okay, Trinidad. No, we wouldn't.
Mm-mm.
When I left Trinidad, because I was there a couple of weeks ago, so the week after, that's when they had an earthquake. But why is Trinidad so susceptible? It's because of where they're positioned, right?
Yeah.
In terms of the equator, because they have a lot of earthquakes.
Well, the Caribbean basin it's the confluence of three tectonic plates that move: the North American, the South American, and help me, Dawn.
I want to say Juan de Fuca, but that's not it. There's another plate in there. I'm spacing too, and I should know. I'm a geologist, but yeah. There's that little triangular plate right in the Caribbean. It may just be the Caribbean plate, but I think it may have another name.
Yes.
But yeah, the plate boundaries made the island arcs, so we're kind of like Japan. We're doomed.
Well,
thanks,
we're gonna have this stuff. Oh shoot.
We had people move here from California because they were worried about the earthquakes. So you're in earthquake zone 4 in California. We're in earthquake zone 4. Same. Have about 300 a year. Minor earthquakes here in the Virgin Islands, USVI.
Yeah, and then the tsunami comes also with that,
Yep.
So
we have
devastating.
Yeah, I've seen there've been a number off of Guadeloupe this year. I think.
Yes.
Yeah.
Little earthquakes, little tremors.
Tremors.
They go up and then
tremors.
down, and we are bracing ourselves for the next one. And, But you know, if, that we can brace ourselves as much as we want.
You see, we,
You're right about
no,
that.
we have, you know, to look at the good side, we have to be thankful. Even for the hurricanes, you can prepare 3, 4, 5 days. The earthquake, you cannot prepare for the tsunamis, and that is what is scary.
My sentiments too, Wayne, that we can, at least we have a little warning. It's
Yeah.
the earthquake that.
Yeah, Dawn, you're in an area that gets tornadoes, and you now
Oh, yeah.
and
Do
there's
you get warnings?
warning
You
there.
don't get warnings for.
Yeah.
They're getting better now at being able to read the signature of a tornado forming in the storm clouds and getting word out. But still, if you don't have they're now putting text alerts and alerts on our cell phones if there's an area that's under a tornado warning. So that's helping.
Yes.
But Dawn, is
When
it,
those things are coming, all you do is you try and get underground and hope it misses you.
Yeah.
but Dawn, what's the lead time on that? I mean, is it hours for that or minutes?
Minutes, 20 minutes is pretty good. They'll tell you generally.
minutes.
They'll tell you in general, like 12 hours before, this afternoon and evening looks like it's going to be really bad. All the elements are there. But as to figuring out exactly where the dang thing's going to form and where there's going to be, if they can tell you if your area is likely to be under a tornado watch to keep an eye on the news hours before. But an actual tornado warning, you're lucky to get 20 minutes.
Yeah.
So
We had.
that's why I bought a house with a basement because of the tornadoes. I was not going to buy something that didn't have a basement because all you can do is go under.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Yes. The warning will tell you roughly that it's in DeKalb County, or they'll give you that kind of. They're not going to. They're not. They don't know which way it's going to go.
They can kind of now give you a box and say, okay, right now it's almost at this intersection, and you know, X town you've got 5 minutes, X town you better be underground, X town you might have 15. But then the things swing over like a mile. The funnel will corkscrew and swing back and forth over easily a mile of. It could go anywhere in there as it's passing through on its trajectory. So.
Yeah, no, that's much scarier to me than a hurricane.
It's better than it used to have.
This last month in Florida, with the area where I am, we have gotten about 3 tornado warnings. And like you said, the weather, people were saying that about 12 hours ahead, but then I got a text on my phone like 2 hours before, and then an hour when it was giving us the area where I live is Tamarack. They say Tamarack exactly, but it was a downpour of rain and a little wind, and it passed. So we're thankful. But I've never been in a tornado area, but now Florida is all over.
And let me ask, I would like to ask you, how about Sargasso? Do you all of the island, I mean, in Guadeloupe, it's a disaster. Do you have Sargasso also in your islands?
Thank you so much for bringing that up, because I wanted to ask you guys that earlier. It's affecting our open water training significantly because we're just filled to capacity with seaweed.
With what? With seaweed?
Seaweed.
But
Sargasso.
The Sargasso are particularly the most, the nastiest ones, because
Absolutely, man. Yeah, that's what we're filled with.
I mean, seaweeds are seaweeds, but the Sargasso is you know, it smells.
Yeah, that's exactly.
It is a seaweed, but it's the different one. I mean, it kills everything around.
Correct. That's
it's
exactly
toxic,
what we're suffering from right now.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Wayne. You had your hand up, I think. You're on mute.
I was asking, I never heard of Sargasso. What is Sargasso?
Sargassum is what we call it.
Sargassum?
From
Sargassum?
yes, and someone in one of the islands I was reading, and of course I forget which one, they are in fact harvesting it, drying it out, washing it out, and using it for fertilizer, because once you've gotten past the smell, it's got an abundance of goodies for your soil, because it's got lots of little animal critters in there, and Yes.
So, well, it grows on the coast of the oceans, or
No, it grows in
It's like seaweed.
like seaweed or seaweed?
Yes,
Okay.
I saw it in Barbados. They had it when I was there in 2015. It had taken over the seashores all around the island, but more on the Atlantic side, and it was really, really bad, really bad.
Wow.
But I think they too are harvesting it too, John, from what I can recall. That was the intention.
Yes.
But the thing is, in order to get to harvesting them and to treating them and using them as compost or whatever, it's a very long process. And meanwhile, since all the islands of the Caribbean are oriented towards sea sports and tourism on the beach, etc., it's a disaster because nobody can go and swim or stay in a hotel near this stinking thing. It's like rotten eggs. I mean, it's sulfur kind of thing. It's a terrible thing. And I don't know I didn't know that sulfur would be good for lands if you use it as a fertilizer. So
I don't believe it's sulfur, and perhaps any of the sulfur is in fact evaporating or coming out in the sulfur dioxide that you're smelling. So that you're not really putting sulfur in your...
Yeah. Good. Well, I mean, the whole economy is changing now. I mean, you can't... all the people have been remodeling their hotels on the seashore to get more people coming as tourists. The tourists can't stay. And even us, I mean, we, the population, we don't even go there anymore. I mean, it's being on the island and not being able to go to the sea because it's overtaken by it's a disaster.
Well, fortunately, though, it is a seasonal sort of thing. I mean, it will... No?
No, it's not. It's because the water has...
It depends on the currents.
No, but the water has become warmer, and so the currents brought them. But then they find themselves in a comfortable place, and then they reproduce and they don't move. It's not only the current; it's the growth of them. As some fish, like the lion, the sea lion, which became a plague. I mean, if you're touched by a sea lion, you could die while swimming.
You mean lionfish? You mean lionfish?
Lionfish.
Dawn's got her hand.
No, not sea lion. Lionfish. Yeah, it was in the Caribbean. Yeah.
Lionfish or Portuguese man-o-war. We're about 3 minutes out, so I just wanted to make sure I gave everyone the news. Number one, Ellie and his wife had a baby yesterday, another little boy. They're very happy. And secondly, it's the end of June, meaning we all need to think about paying our dues for at least the half year. I believe the best way to do that right now is to use our club runner account, pay to the club, and then put a little note in, this is for dues, and Diana can pass it up. Because apparently Rotary International had a flood or something. They can receive funds, but everything else in my Rotary is currently not working. And they say it's because they had water on the equipment, which I assume was not good news somehow. But they're trying to get the rest of Rotary.org and my Rotary back up and running. So remember, it's time to send your payment to Diana.
Before we go to Wayne, Dawn, do you want to talk about
What?
Sorry, I see Wayne's hand up, but I just wanted to know if you want to just remind us about next week, your installation next week.
Yeah, next week will be the installation of officers. I know the top 3 that we elect, I'm going to hold the presidency for that year. Brent is going to be president-elect, as I understand. Amaryllis is holding secretary. John's agreed to be Sarge. I'm still putting together a couple things on the board, trying to sort out between folks who would like roles in and how we're going to put it all together to have a good board set together, and how we're going to figure out when to have our board meetings. But I'll have a little more news at the installation.
Okay, great. Wayne, you had something to say? And then
Yeah, about the dues, we don't know how much to send, so are we getting invoices, or you want to tell us how much to send?
I would imagine that Diana will.
Let me
send
work
out-
with, yeah.
Go ahead.
I'll check with Diana on that, because if anyone has anything backdated, she'll need to check with them on that. I don't think we do. But she's got the official record, so I don't want to say things without her.
Right, I agree. Henriette, you had something to say? You're on mute.
I am on mute?
No.
Oh, no, you're good.
Okay, so no, I thought that I wanted to know what were the records, because at some point there was a call for money which was to be put in advance in case we needed something, and then we had paid, some people have paid advance dues, and so I wanted sure that the records are being kept somewhere, and if they have to renew the advance dues.
You can trust that Diana has got good records.
Oh yes, I know. So if she sends me anything, if she tells me your dues are dues, I will execute.
Normally, Diana sends out invoices, and we would expect them shortly. She's been a little busy lately, and is with Toronto. So, all right.
Camille, I saw Camille have her hand up. And then
Just one question, Dawn. Were we able to invite some of the AGs to the installation? Only because you really, as they go through the club districts to their different clubs, you certainly want them to, share with the club members the options of the eClub as makeups, etc., etc. Were we able to?
We're working on it.
Okay.
All right, great. So guys, thank you for a great fellowship morning. Really appreciate it. I'm looking forward to next year. Dawn, congratulations, and you have my full support. So as we go off into the rest of Saturday, I'm going to ask Wayne to lead us out with the four-way test, please.
Good morning again, and please repeat after me the things we said do as Rotarians. Is it the truth?
Is it
the truth?
Is it fair to all concerned?
Is it
Fair to all concerned?
Will it build goodwill and better friendships?
Will it
Will it
build
build
friendships?
And will it be beneficial to all concerned?
Will it be
Beneficial to all.
And thank you, Madam President, for a nice meeting.
And
it has been fun. It has been fun.
It's been fun.
let's get some more guys. I love women, but I'm surrounded by you.
I know. You're the lucky guy.
Yeah, right.
Very lucky guy.
That's
Bye,
it.
guys.